guest is the White House reporter for Frontlines and Turning Point USA, Monica Paige. And these past couple days have been pretty busy, Monica. You doing all right?
Hey, Chris. Yeah, I mean, the sleeping is dwindling down to maybe 3 hours a night, but we're doing the work of the American people. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, I can only imagine what your schedule looks like. I mean, with everything going on, we got tariffs on automobiles coming out from out of the United States. We have the Signal chat scandal. We have so where do you want to start? Well, I mean, the field is yours, Monica.
Well, I mean, it's ridiculous how, mainstream media has just really been latching onto this Signal Gate and trying to kind of distract from all the successes that the Trump administration has been put forward. This Signal Gate fallout has been really the hot topic of the conversation, and this media is really going to hang on to it for as long as they can. I mean, President Trump has said that he's been trying to move on from it, and in a way he's going to move on from it is to keep securing these major wins, whether it's economic and like you mentioned, the tariffs on these automobiles, the auto sector, keeping Americans safe. President Trump signing an executive order today, by the way, where he may be ending sanctuary cities.
Let's go.
I think that is the executive order being signed today around 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's under definitely speculation because it could be a number of things. Caroline Leavitt did not say exactly what it could be this morning, but many people are speculating that that is the one because he's been hinting at it for a while, and sanctuary cities have been a way of protecting criminals for years, especially under Joe Biden's administration. So this is what Trump is going to continue to do. And at the end of the day, this whole Signal Gate thing, I think it's important for Americans to know what really came out of it, which was a very successful counterterrorism operation. And we know Joe Biden took the Houthis off the terror watch list under his term. So this is something that should be really, should be a big win for Americans. And it should be focused on this chat group. It should be focused on killing terrorists. That's a big win.
Yeah, honestly. And is the administration just over talking about it at this point? It seems like the narrative is now switching and targeting Hegseth in the New York Times today. What does the administration actually feel about all of this? Are they just rather annoyed in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, I mean, for lack of a better term, they're exhausted by this. I mean, President Trump has said how he feels about it. Mike Waltz took accountability for it. It's just this administration is wants to move on, and we saw it in the press briefing yesterday. Caroline Leavitt was like, "Can I please take a different question?"
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting the same question in multiple different ways from the same kinds of people. The average American, mom, suburban mom doesn't care about Signal Gate. She cares about low prices. She cares about keeping her kids safe. She cares about, the real things that matter to everyday American people. But, these mainstream media reporters want to call this a national security threat. Look who we had in office the last 4 years. Joe Biden was a national security threat in and of himself for the past 4 years. He was mentally incompetent. The southern border was wide open. He had 13 service members killed, and nobody was held accountable. And when you have these top Democrats calling for Hegseth's resignation and, oh, was he drunk at the time of those messages? First of all, how dare you? That's really that's extremely unprofessional. But where were these same Democrats when Lloyd Austin, the former defense secretary, left his post and nobody said a thing?
Yep.
And we were left completely vulnerable at the hands of, these terrorists that Joe Biden took off the terror watch list. And don't you remember FBI Director Chris Wray said the alarm bells are blinking red, warning signs everywhere about the state of our country under these terror threats? Where were all these people? Because it's very hypocritical at this point.
Yeah, it's like I wish they would have the same energy that they have right now 4 years ago. Maybe this country would be in a bit better of a spot than we currently are. Yet Donald Trump is trying to fix it. And, I mean, this morning, before we even wake up, they're busting MS-13 gang leaders in Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge win. That's a huge, huge move. I mean, it just makes you wonder, how long was this person in here for? How, what was he doing? And Virginia, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's a sanctuary city. I mean, it's Glenn Youngkin runs it, obviously, but there may be some cities or some pockets where they have had illegal aliens, criminals that have flown under the radar here. I mean, and this is exactly the reason why President Trump is going to put a stop to this by ending sanctuary cities, because like I mentioned, according to CBP numbers, more than 300 suspects on the terror watch list have gone under the radar and have been apprehended by Border Patrol. So this is just a way. I mean, if one person, one MS-13 leader is found in Virginia, could you just imagine how many more are in these sanctuary cities all across America? It's alarming because, they just fly under people's noses. They could be living among us and nobody knows.
Yeah.
And Democrats just let it happen.
Yeah, and it still feels like we're waiting for another shoe to drop because of that wide open southern border via Joe Biden. The auto tariffs yesterday, what was the energy like in the room when that was announced?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge win. I mean, you even had UAW head Sean Fain even commend these auto tariffs. Essentially, President Trump wants to bring American businesses back to America and not let these, the automobiles be built or the components made to build these automobiles be, imported from other countries. It just goes to show that it's going to be record jobs. It's going to be made in America only. And I think that's a great thing. I mean, you see the trillions of dollars of investments from these huge corporations that want to invest in America. They believe that America is back open for business under Donald Trump. And it should be a very hopeful moment for America as well. I mean, I don't know about you, but I prefer to have a made in America car rather than something made overseas. And I'm sure that it's going to bring back so many jobs for people. And, we heard from actually the agriculture secretary yesterday, Brooke Rollins. She even weighed in on the fact that the jobs in the private sector are about to explode. So all of those who perhaps lost their government job and federal jobs because of DOGE, maybe they can make themselves more productive and take on a role that will actually, be helpful to the everyday American and not just commit fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about the investment that we've seen in the country is that we haven't even felt the ripple effects from this yet. Like they've just announced the investment. We haven't really even broke ground yet on some of these buildings that they're going to be constructing to bring manufacturing back to the United States. And these jobs are just going to be massive, massive job numbers. I think it's like closer to $3 trillion in investment in the U.S. so far since Trump has taken office.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. I mean, you see Honda, Hyundai, Nissan. I mean, the list is going to go on and on. Rolls-Royce is thinking about even bringing their company to America as well. It's a very exciting time. And you're right. We haven't even seen the ripple effects yet. President Trump hasn't even been in office for 3 months yet. Could you imagine what's going to happen over the next 4 years? So we are very excited here at the White House. And it seems like there's something new coming out every single day, whether it's another executive order, whether it's another investment, and everything that comes out that's positive is even better. Even better for the American people.
Now, with the tariffs, there's a lot of talk of there may be some short-term pain in with the tariffs and with the economy as we're reconstructing this, essentially a new model for the American economy, rebuilding the foundation. Has the White House been honest about that with you guys and honest enough, do you think?
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the numbers, so of course the saying is short-term pain, long-term gain. I mean, you look at what happened under the Biden administration. They were inflating the jobs numbers like nobody can believe. I mean, there were thousands of jobs that were created in the federal government rather than private sector jobs. And I think that's a huge thing because they were artificially inflating the numbers, trying to make it look like there was a lot going on, that business is booming, but that wasn't really the case. So now we're kind of, the Trump administration is kind of undoing what has been done for the last 4 years and having to really start from scratch and build from the bottom back up into what, things should really be looking like. Because the previous administration was, really deceptive to the American people. You had so many jobs created that just weren't substantial. They were just for the numbers. They were just for what it could look like on paper. So this is what this administration is doing, is creating actual substance. It's quality jobs rather than quantity.
Yeah, and it felt like every time the Biden administration put out a jobs report number, it was like, wait a month and they'll revise it down. It seemed like that happened every single time. And we were losing 10,000 manufacturing jobs a month under Biden, and we're now gaining 10,000 manufacturing jobs under Trump via the last jobs report. Those numbers were wild, 9,000 in the auto industry. And you got the auto workers going on Fox Business saying, we're open to this. We want overtime. We want to be working 6-7 days a week. The argument that Americans don't want to work, I think, is a lousy one and weak at best. And the Trump administration is bringing a lot of these jobs back and righting the wrongs that were put out there by NAFTA. And I think this is a good thing, even if it means a little bit of short-term pain.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm definitely looking forward to, what else could what else could come from this as well? I mean, you're just looking at the auto sector in and of itself. I mean, that's what really had some of the biggest gains from this last jobs report that we got. I'm looking forward to seeing what the March jobs report is going to look like, and and however many more jobs we can create in other sectors as well is only going to be better. I mean, and you won't need to take on 2 jobs in order to be able to afford your basic necessities, because that's also what happened under the Biden administration that went under the radar, is that it was hard for everyday Americans to afford their rent, their electricity, their food. So they had to take on maybe more than one job, which at the end of the day puts such a strain on families, and Trump's going to put a stop to this. And I'm looking forward to seeing, the no tax on, tips, the no tax on overtime, the no tax on Social Security. I know we're still waiting on a little bit more information surrounding that, but that's only going to be even better and better.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now, last month we had a Black History Month event at the White House. Yesterday we had a Women's History Month event at the White House. Were you there for that event?
I was not able to get into that event because I think it was pool only, or even if I did get into the event, I would be very, very in the back. I mean, when I went to the St. Patrick's Day reception just to welcome, the Irish PM, and we were crammed in the back. It was very brutal. I think I got sick from that event.
Oh, jeez.
Because it was just so many people crammed in. But I mean, that's another really important situation at the White House, or event at the White House, that, again, going under the radar because of the stupid signal gate. I mean, President Donald Trump is a president for women. I mean, keeping women safe from these foreign terrorists coming into this country, MS-13, Tren de Aragua, showing that, America is back for women as well. President Trump has never been more pro-woman than ever before. I mean, keeping men out of women's sports as well. That's another huge initiative that he signed an executive order for, and I'm hoping that can get pushed through. But, these Democrats, they want to say a man in a skirt is a woman, and, it's not fair. So Trump, of course, always for the American woman, and you've seen that through a lot of different initiatives, and it was a very special event. There were a lot of great women here. I believe the Independent Women's Forum leader was here as well. Penny Nance was here. She's always great, and they're just very excited. It's a new hope for women in America, where they don't have to be excluded or feel like, oh, okay, now men can start using my bathroom, men can be in my sport. It was worrying to a lot of mothers as well. I mean,
Yep.
What's the message when a boy can join a little girl's sports team and start to outplay her, or go in the bathroom with her?
It was worrying to dads too. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I have an 11-year-old daughter, and when she goes to the bathroom in a public place, I stand guard outside that door, and it shouldn't be that way in this country, but I do, and it's I'm just waiting for that day where I'm going to be like, not so fast there, fella. You're going to go ahead and use the other one, and I'm prepared for that situation to come, but it doesn't seem like those days are long. We're talking with Monica Paige. She's the White House reporter for Frontlines and Turning Point USA. With all of the hysteria around Signalgate, there has to be some stories flying under the radar that you wish would be getting more attention. What are the stories that you think Americans should be paying more attention to?
Well, I think what's actually very funny is the AP is back in court. Today is actually its second hearing, and I believe that the AP is suing the Trump administration for banning them from the Oval Office and other spaces. I believe that last month was their first hearing, and the judge in that case refused the AP's request for an injunction to stop the White House from banning these reporters and photographers from events. If you remember correctly, the AP refused to acknowledge President Trump changing the name from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and changing the name from Mount Denali to Mount McKinley, back to that. So they're back and forth today.
And I thought the left was against dead naming, and it seems like the AP is very pro dead naming in these scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, that's the left. It's just rules for me, but not for thee, and that's exactly what we saw from them. So it'll be interesting to see how this comes to fruition here. We got an email from the White House Correspondents Association President Eugene Daniels asking everybody to stand in solidarity with the AP and wear like a First Amendment pin on your lapel. Share this image on social media that you stand with AP and you stand with the First Amendment. I'm sorry, but where was this White House Correspondents Association administration and, all these First Amendment activists. When the Biden administration banned the New York Post from its events, when Karine Jean-Pierre refused to call on any other reporters past the fourth row in the briefing room. So it's so hypocritical. And as soon as some of these reporters don't get what they want, they start crying like adolescent children. It's hysterical. It'll definitely be interesting to see what happens for this. I know that the judge in this case urged the Trump administration to reconsider this ban, but it hasn't. And now this judge is saying that it's clearly viewpoint discrimination. So that's what they're claiming. This is viewpoint discrimination. Well, if that's the case, then I guess I have plenty of cases for this from the previous administration.
Honestly.
If they want to cry that. So
but, hey,
that's something that I think is very interesting is happening.
And I love that you gave us the info that the White House Correspondents Association president sent out that email. So if we see a reporter standing in solidarity and posting about the First Amendment and free speech today, we'll know that they buy into fake news. Monica Paige, she's a White House Turning Point USA reporter with Frontlines. How can we keep up with you? Where can we find you online?
Thank you so much, Chris. You can find me on X at Monica Paige TV and also Instagram at Monica Paige TV. I really appreciate coming on. You guys are the best.
No, hey, I love having you on. I love your insight. I think you're always doing great work, and we'll have you on anytime.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it. That's Monica Paige, Turning Point USA, Frontlines White House reporter.